scrappers. Time for another video. And then when I get done, I'll give you an update on the wife. This video kind of geared towards the new guys. So I had a request to do a video kind of showing different metals and how to distinguish, you know, what's what, you know. And remembering way back, I can remember a time when, you know, I had questions about different metals. You know, how can I tell this metal from that metal? They look so much alike. You know, this is a rotor here off of my daughter's car. You see a nice dent there where he hit it with a hammer, and that broke there. I'm talking about getting them turned, but there's not enough meat left on that thing to turn. Anyway, right here's a rotor, which is basically cast iron. I know a lot of guys keep these separated and take them in by themselves. Some scrapyards will call it HMS, some short iron, #1 prepared steel. You know, a rule of thumb really for any of this metal, no matter what I tell you, check with the scrapyards near you or that you want to do business with, and ask them, you know, how they like it prepared, because they want it the way that their sellers want it, or their buyers want it. So they have to please their buyer, so you have to please the scrapyard. Now, some scrapyards may not even want cast iron mixed in with short iron, because cast iron in a way is a category of its own. But where I take my short iron to, they don't fuss about it, so I can mix it all together. The only thing they don't like seeing a whole lot of in the short iron is tire rims, the wheels. They say the wheels are a different category and it doesn't pay as good. Now, one thing, get you a magnet. If you don't have a magnet, just go down to Walmart, auto parts store, get one of these telescopic ones. They work great, they're pretty strong. But as you see, the magnet sticks to short iron. So your best paying metals, the magnet will not stick. Here again we have metal, some steel, magnet sticks, so that's what they call ferrous metal. But here it's too thin, kind of like appliances. You know, if it's real thin, it's just called light steel, light iron, shred. Kind of another name would be tin, but it's not actual tin. So short iron usually pays a little better. Like I say, check with your yard, but here in Oklahoma, short iron is basically a thicker metal. I asked them years ago, how thick does it have to be? You know, I was thinking of miking it, you know, and they said it has to be thicker than a swimming pool frame thickness, so that tells you a whole lot, yeah. So 1/8 inch thick or something like that, that would be considered, you know, suitable for short iron. But they said it also has to be less than 3 foot long by 18 by 18 inches. So here's another one, had the little copper deal on it. I still got a couple little pieces of copper here, but it's the layered pieces, like off of statters and whatnot. Let me grab another sample. Something like this that you got your copper pulled out of, that can go into short iron. It's good heavy metal, so you can get a lot of weight in a small area. So that kind of covers basically the ferrous. Now, I believe, okay, I think this one here is stainless steel, and this one here is stainless steel. Now how can you tell it from aluminum? Well, magnet does not stick. You know, it doesn't stick here, doesn't stick there. You know, so basically right now we're in kind of the white colored metals. So what you have to do, get you an angle grinder. As you can see there, the camera's picking it up where I ground on here. But you notice one thing, you didn't see any sparks whatsoever. So that could be cast aluminum. But now this one, and this one, these two here, you saw sparks flying. So if it sparks, the magnet does not stick, then that's stainless steel. Now you can also get a stainless steel that the magnet sticks to. If you get that, just throw it in with your shred, your light steel, light iron. I'll throw that in my bucket, make a little room on the table. Okay, so now, here you can kind of pick this up, how yellow that looks. Again, the magnet does not stick. It's got a nice yellow color to it. You can grind into it if in doubt. Same thing here. Now we got magnet sticking right there, right? So this pipe right here is ferrous metal, but it does not stick here. It does stick up here. I haven't cleaned this up yet. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to grind. Again, right there, yellow. So that's yellow brass. Brass does not spark. That there is basically shred. So now they do have a red brass, and red brass will be similar to this. It's used in a lot of fittings and whatnot. And of course, right here we have copper with a brass end on it. So I'm gonna get this, toss this in the bucket, make a little room. So a bucket of brass that I need to clean up. And get this out of here too. So tell copper from brass. Actually, that's not going to work to tell you the difference, because a lot of times the fitting on the end will be brass, but not always. Sometimes they do have steel fittings, and this one here, if you look, you can see the color, it's all the same color, nice and orange. That's why I call it the orange gold. But if you can see that side by side in the camera, right there, you can definitely see the difference between the orange and the yellow. And sometimes, depending on the lighting you're in, sometimes you got to get out in the sun or have good lights. But sometimes you may have to take a piece of brass and put it up, or a piece of copper, you know, and compare them to one another to tell what you have. Now, one thing about brass too over copper, copper is a lot lighter. Brass will be really heavy. So if you get red brass, it's going to look like copper, but it'll probably be heavier. Now, on a side note too, make sure you check the comments in this video. Actually, in a lot of videos, because I'm sure I'm going to miss something, and there will be some of my other subscribers and stuff will probably comment what I missed. So you can learn a lot from just reading comments. And I picked these up the other day. Magnet does not stick. And it looks pretty orangish, so I'm going to say that's copper. And it's threaded, so it's like a long bolt. But in some places they'll do that. So now on this all looks kind of similar here. You can tell this has been cast, so it's cast aluminum. But not all three of these are actually cast aluminum. So I'm going to show you what's going on here. So what I did, I ground a spot on each of them. And I'll spray my magic solution on them. Spray some on that one, spray some on that, a little on that one, and a little on this one. Okay, so now you can see what I sprayed on these two. It still looks silverish. You know, no change at all. But now look at this one where I ground it and then I sprayed the solution on. It's turned dark. And what it is, this is copper sulfate. I got this at Home Depot, Zep root killer. I also have this on my Amazon affiliate page in a little, looks like a silver bag. It's copper sulfate. I don't remember what the price is on it. Nice blue crystals. I take a teaspoon, or about that much, and put it to a 16-ounce spray bottle. And I've used this for over a year. When it turns dark like that, it means it has zinc in it. So it's they call it die cast or zinc. So that will kind of go separate from your cast aluminum. So I thought I'd show you that, and that's how you tell on that. And your zinc is usually heavier. It's kind of hard to tell when you got a big piece here and a piece here, but actually the weights feel pretty close to the same, even though you can see that's a whole lot less, smaller. Now, here again we have 3 pieces of aluminum. Now these are basically 3 categories. 4 categories, I guess. You got cast aluminum, you got cast die cast, you got sheet aluminum here and here, and then you got extruded. So I'll show you the extruded is a special mixture of aluminum they push through a die, and if you can see the end of that, how it's shaped, so you can tell it hasn't been just rolled out in a sheet and folded. It hasn't been machined. They run it through like a press basically and shape it. So that's extruded. Even though all 3 of the prices in a lot of yards are maybe a penny or 2 difference, the yards really prefer to have it sorted out. Now this is sheet. You can see the end of the sheet, how that was basically just rolled out in a sheet and then run through a press to give it, you know, its shape. And it's been painted. And then here, this is just sheet aluminum. You know, stuff like on the sides of campers. This dryer vent, we got shred at each end, magnet sticks on the ends, but not down the center. So that center's good chances sheet aluminum. So I think that about does it. I'm not sure if I'm missing anything. So if I am missing anything, you guys, please comment down below, because that's what we want to do. We want to teach the new guys, make what they're doing a little easier on them, easier to identify the stuff, so they can get their top prices out of the stuff and make the scrapyards happy. But like I say, in everything, scrapyards are different. Just like copper, I get the copper motors, cut the ends off, and some of the copper motors have cloth string going around them. The scrapyard that I go to that pays the best here, Metal Check, they don't want the strings on there. So I have to do the extra work and clean those strings off, and some of them strings are in shellac and they're a booger. But yet there are other yards that they don't care about the strings. It's because their buyer doesn't care. So their buyer's good with it, they'll be good with it. So always, you can ask questions on Scrap Metal Talk group or wherever, and ask me questions and comments. All I can tell you basically what my yard wants, because every yard's different. So your yard may be different. So the best thing to do is have them on speed dial on your phone, so when you have a question about something, give them a call, because they want to help you sort the stuff properly, because that makes their job easier. You think, okay, take it in dirty, they'll clean it up and stuff. That takes manpower. They have to pay somebody to clean all that up. And they would rather just have you bring it in and be able to dump it into a bin and go on to the next. And then when the bin's full, package it and ship it. So always check with your yard. And you never know, your yard might change buyers, and they might change the way they want their stuff processed. So it's always a good idea to check with them. So I think that's about all I have to say. Check out my Amazon affiliate link in the description below the video. And I have a lot of tools. Like I said, I've got that copper sulfate. And I hope you guys can hear me. I just noticed I got the mic pointed backwards again. So yeah, there's that too. I'll go ahead and turn this mic around. Yeah, I hope you guys could hear me during that. Hate to think I went through this whole video, whatever length it took, to 15 minutes or so, and then you can't hear what I'm saying. But yeah, always check with your scrapyard and see how they prefer to have it sorted or processed, whatever. And for the update on my wife, well, in a way, we're back to square one. They released her Wednesday. At about 3:30, MedRide came and picked her up and took her to the nursing home in Chickasha. And then later that night, the hospital called and said she left her purse. And I left the mouse to my laptop. So I had to make a run back down there Thursday and pick that up. But last night she started hurting in her chest. So they said, well, if you're hurting in your chest, we have to take you, call the ambulance, go to the hospital. So they did. I think she got in there about 7 o'clock. And the nursing home where she's getting the physical therapy, is here. And then right next to that, there's a clinic and then the hospital. So didn't have far to go. So from 7:30 to, gosh, I don't know, 1 o'clock, 12:31, something like that. And they finally came in and said, well, she still has fluid on her lungs and her pancreas is inflamed. And I guess they don't do the, gastrointestines and stuff like that. So they said they're going to have to transport her back to Norman over on Porter. And that's where she just got released from. So before the ambulance got there to pick her up to transport her, I went back to the nursing home and gathered all her stuff and got to the Norman before she did. And they had her right back in the same emergency room that she was in back on the 10th. So they moved her upstairs to the 4th floor again, so she gets to see some of the same nurses. And the GI doctor, he was there and he said that there's fluid around the pancreas. They could go in with a needle and remove the fluid, but they really don't want to, because they say anytime you introduce a needle, you take a risk of inducing infection. So they just want to let the pancreas rest and cool off, not eat anything. So letting it cool off and whatnot, and then they'll gradually get her going again. He was saying something about doing another scan or something, CAT scan, I guess, in 6 weeks. And then Dr. Chaco came in. That's the doctor she had before, and he was kind of surprised to see her back. So like, what happened? So I think he's going to order another CAT scan to go in and see what's going on. But they can give her what they call her LASIK or something like that, to make her pee a lot and get a lot of that fluids off of her. So I'm sure they're going to do that. So she's staying strong and she's fighting. She's just hurting a little bit. She's kind of nauseous in her stomach, at times, but she's doesn't really have any stomach pain. They took her staples out today from the surgery. And when they mentioned surgery, she says, "No, I'm not going through surgery again." She said, "I've had enough of that." So, oh yeah, for any of the new guys that are still here, for your short iron, like hammerheads would also go. I had the hammer sitting up here, and that's something I wanted to mention. That's basically cast iron. So she's hanging in there, staying strong. I really thought I was going to get to come home, have a bag of popcorn, and be able to sleep in my own bed last night, but that wasn't the case. So she talked him into letting me stay the first night at the nursing home. I told her she should tell him I'm her emotional support animal. But we're still hoping for the best, praying for the best. We know who's in control. So I want to thank everybody for watching. Thank you for your prayers, and we're not going to give up. So I know when she comes home, they say she won't be able to lift maybe 10 pounds, and then they're talking about having a home care provider come by 2-3 times a week to help her with things and whatnot. So she's not real wild about that idea, but I think it might be a good idea. But main thing now is just get this pancreas under control. I said something to her before they released her that they should do another CAT scan before they let her go and make sure everything's good to go. But of course, I can't say I know more than doctors, so I want to thank everybody for stopping by, and I'll end this video and get back down there with her. So you guys take care. Happy scrapping, and may your loads be heavy. So you take care. Bye-bye.